Cena sat down and watched one of my matches and reminded me, because he actually sat down and watched the Cruiserweight title match with me and Mustafa. And I believe I was working Buddy Murphy on one of these live event house shows, and he really sat me down and said, "Hey, you're the champion. You gotta present yourself a certain way. You can't have people give them so much when you're the attraction in the match. So make sure that you protect yourself as champion."
Worldwide audience has seen him before, but now you will see him in a completely new light. Coming up May 9th, House of Glory, Cedric Alexander is back in the ring. Yes, his future endeavors begin now. Am I allowed to say that? That's the word everyone's familiar with. You are fresh off a big run in WWE, right? But who came up with the line future endeavors?
I can't remember who came up with that line. I think it's like from way back in the day, like back when they were letting people go back in the 90s and stuff. It was kind of the popular term. No, that's what it was. On their website, when they would announce people are getting released, they would say, "We wish them best in their future endeavors." It was always the line they used.
All right, so you are now going to have your first match out of WWE coming up here May 9th in Chicago for House of Glory. Tickets are available now. Can you tell us about the scenario, the match you're going to have, and how you're feeling getting back in the ring and having fans see you again?
Man, I'm nervous. Wrestling in WWE, that's TV wrestling, and then wrestling in independence, that's two entirely different worlds, man. So it's a little nerve-wracking, the pressure's there. I haven't, at this point with the 90-day clause, I haven't been in the ring in a while, so I'm a little nervous to be in front of a crowd again. And yeah, just that's the best way to describe it, is just nerve-wracking.
Is it the longest you've been out of the ring in a while? No.
Yeah, I think the only other time was when I tore my meniscus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like outside of an injury, I mean, yeah. So.
Outside of injury, yeah, no, like this feels alien to me to be out of a ring for so long.
So tell me about the process of the WWE experience, and now kind of coming into a whole different world, because when you wrestle in the WWE machine, you have to do many, many different things in a very, very specific way, which is why their system is so successful. How do you feel now? Is there a level of creative freedom? Is there something you couldn't do in WWE that you just it didn't work? It just wasn't going to be something that worked for another wrestler, or the way the cameras? Are you just like, I am excited to do this? I know I can do this that I couldn't do there.
Time. Taking as much time as I want. That's the big thing for me. In WWE, you got to be so precise with the time, because you got commercials you got to go to, and advertisements. You got to make this person. You got to make so many people happy. But in the Indies, you got that, like you said, creative freedom. I can be the person that I feel I am in front of the camera, instead of, with WWE, you have to live up to a bit of a persona. What does the storyline say you need to be? You need to be this for the storyline. The Indies is not really a storyline. You can be whatever you want. So for me, it's I'm just excited to open up. You know what I mean? Just let loose a little bit. Let the shackles off and just kind of show everybody what my personality is, outside of just being, hey, this guy can wrestle. You
got your start in North Carolina. You are a longtime pro, and obviously wrestling takes people through highs and lows, but you also seem like a very goal-oriented guy. You're a guy that stated things that you wanted to achieve, and that's a big thing when I talk to professional wrestlers. I want to achieve this. For you, what are the highs that you have to outmatch now? What are the high points for you from your time in WWE? Like, these were the top things. These are the top people I worked with. I need to outperform that in my own mind in the eyes of other people.
Ooh, right off the bat, as soon as the news of me being released kind of shed, there were two matchups that kept repeating in my head, like, I somehow have to get these matches to happen again. And one is the match with Kota Ibushi. I've been hearing people really want to see that. We wrestled that one time at CWC, the Cruiserweight Classic. It was, for me, a career-making match, a life-changing match. So that's something I would like to get one more time just to see how it turns out. And another match with Mustafa Ali. My man Mustafa. We've literally torn it up all over the world. France, Italy, Spain, all over the United States. Like, that's something I want to be able to come back on and say, all right, now we've grown up a little bit. We've had different paths. His run at TNA has been doing great. I'm about to start this fresh new thing on the Indies. I'm ready to see what we could do as more evolved versions of ourselves.
Yeah, well, you're going to be in Chicago, so I don't think he'll be that far away.
All right, brother, right in his backyard.
I'll be seeing him this weekend. I'll pass on the message. So
he knows. He knows.
Pretty sure. Text.
Oh. Night and day, brother. Night and day.
What for you? You mentioned those matches and those highs in WWE. You got to achieve and work with a lot of very convincing people in terms of larger than life personalities. Who are the characters in your time in WWE that had the most impression on you? And maybe they may not have been someone that we saw you work with on camera. There's always these interesting stories of people I talk about, like, I got this piece of advice from so-and-so, and it always resonated with me. Do you have moments like that with someone in WWE?
Oh, yeah. Off the top of my head, John Cena was one that popped in my head immediately. There was a time where I was Cruiserweight champion, and I was, really running the house show loop a lot and stuff like that. And Cena sat down and watched one of my matches and reminded me, because he actually sat down and watched the Cruiserweight title match with me and Mustafa. And I believe I was working Buddy Murphy on one of these live event house shows, and he really sat me down and said, "Hey, you're the champion. You gotta present yourself a certain way. You can't have people give them so much when you're the attraction in the match. So make sure that you protect yourself as champion." And just small things like that, because people don't think about, like, oh, I want to make this move look great. I want to do 1,000 things. Like, no, like, but at the same time, your presentation matters. So you can't make yourself seem like the underdog all the time, when in some cases you're the top dog, and you have to present that.
Yeah, and that isn't something you learn very quickly by just saying it. It's something you learn in a process. You have to learn it through actually doing it and stuff like that.
It's one of those things you'll get mentioned once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, and it won't be till like a year, 2 years later to go, I understand what they meant. I get it. That's what they mean.
So you have a very positive mindset for someone who is, just completed a run with the biggest company in the world, and now you're going to be able to do it with all these different, like, I would say, alternative choices within professional wrestling. I don't say less now. I think it's an alternative landscape. WWE is not the only one-stop shop for wrestling. Mm-hmm. When you step out of it, though, do you have this perspective on wrestling that you didn't have when you were at WWE? You now know these things that other people don't know. You know how all of it is done. What is the number one thing you learned in WWE that you're ready to show the independent wrestling world? And also maybe show people that were sleeping on you, that they were sleeping on something.
I would say it's make sure I live in the moment. You know what I mean? My mindset of wrestling has changed a little bit, not so much, because for me, wrestling in WWE was a great job. You know what I mean? It's not my career, it was my job. Mm-hmm. It was something that taught me a lot, both in and outside the ring. I got to learn from a lot of people. So my career is pro wrestling, so I'll wrestle anywhere. If there's a ring, I'll get in there. But let's say the Cedric from pre-WWE to now, just more living in the moment, more embracing what the match needs at that time. Because before it was more of a case of, I want to get this move in. I want to make sure I look cool here. I'll make sure I look cool here. But the one thing I noticed, like, a crowd will dictate what they want. And if they don't want this at this time, you can't give it to them, because then the match falls apart and you're just dancing now at this point. So reading the crowd has been a big thing for me, just making sure I understand what they want in this moment. And like, now that I have more of the ability, the creative freedom, and the time to play with that, it really makes me think outside the box of, like, I'm already thinking of, like, things that I could be doing and ways to do it and potential storylines with certain wrestlers I've never touched before. So, like, there's all kinds of, like, I guess you say, new avenues that I've opened up in my brain just from looking at the more business side of wrestling in WWE.
Love it.